February came and went, and again I tackled my backlog. Last month saw me crossing 8 games off my backlog, including some games that had been there for quite some time. I'm also going to talk about a bonus game, so make sure you stick around to find out what that game is. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion had been on my backlog since I finished Final Fantasy VII Remake. With the next installment, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, already being released, I really wanted to make this a priority to cross off my backlog. So I did just that, and I'm so happy I did. Throughout the game I enjoy getting to know the main character Zack. The story follows him as he works for Shinra as a soldier. You also have more familiar characters such as Aerith and Sephiroth in the cast of characters. The combat is action-based with the ability and spell casting. This is exactly the same as the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I enjoy this combat style, but I know for some the stopping to cast can make it feel disjointed, so do keep that in mind. One criticism I have for the game is I was never sure what level Zack should be in each section of the game. For example, I would go through a section of the game just fine, only for the boss at the end to one-shot Zack. It just broke the flow of the story, as I had to go back and either upgrade material or do some missions before trying again. The other criticism is the DMW mechanic, where it is a random draw as to what bonuses, if any, you get in combat. Sometimes you would get lucky and have multiple strong attacks in a row, and other times you would get no bonuses. This also skewed the difficulty depending on what characters were drawn in that DMW mechanic. As for the game itself, I think it is really only for fans of the Final Fantasy series. Probably not a game I would start with if you had not played any of this before. If you want to jump into Final Fantasy VII, play the first entry of the remakes. For me, I'm glad I played this game. It added more depth to the characters, both familiar and new, even if the writing did get a little strange at times. Basically, anytime Genesis spoke.
For it now. The power of soldier.
All right, here comes the big one.
In February, I also picked up Mario vs Donkey Kong. Now, this is a game I actually never would have played if I hadn't tried out the demo first. I never played the original, but the simple premise of the game was not something I thought I would enjoy, especially after just finishing Mario Wonder in January, which is undoubtedly a more challenging game. However, maybe this speaks to where I am in life now more than anything else, but less challenging games and games with a pick up and play style are what I drift towards more often than anything else. Something you may have noticed when watching these backlog videos. After finishing the demo, I realised that although the puzzles were simple, they were all so well designed that I had to get the full game. And I was not disappointed. The full game was great. I played through one world each day until the end, so the time commitment was minimal, but the satisfaction I got after beating Donkey Kong each day was fantastic. Let's also touch on how amazing this game looks. It is vibrant and colourful, and at this point, I don't think the Mario franchise could have a bad looking game. The gameplay was not challenging for the most part. There are some time limits in normal mode, but you can turn on casual mode if that stresses you out. Even with this, I did find certain levels that you really needed precise timing to hit the switches and make it back to the key. What comes to mind is the first part in Mystic Forest level 3, requiring a level of skill to complete even in casual mode. Either the key countdown being removed in casual mode or a level skip feature would have been welcome. Now, I know Mario fans would disagree, but the game's marketing feels like it's targeting kids or families or those with nostalgia for anything Mario. As you cannot progress to the levels collecting the mini Marios or fighting Donkey Kong without all the regular levels being beaten, this could prove difficult for some gamers, which is why I believe having optional features like this would increase the accessibility for the game. Despite this, Mario vs Donkey Kong is still a fantastic game for casual gamers. A little to the left of the game I missed when it first released on PC in 2022. To be honest, the trailers for it never really grabbed my attention. It was only in receiving a copy of the game for the PlayStation console release last month that I finally played this one. What struck me the most was how instantly relaxed I felt after completing even a couple of the puzzles. They were not difficult, and yet it felt so good to get the correct answer and be able to move to the next puzzle. You can also uncover the whole answer via the hint functionality. It works by erasing scribbles over the solution. This allows for flexibility. You can uncover just a small amount to get started, or the whole amount if you just want to move to the next puzzle. You can also skip puzzles entirely. It was perfect to unwind after a busy day, and if you want to know more, make sure you check out my full review that's linked in the description. At this point of the month, I was really into relaxing games. Maybe I was just looking for a way to wind down. I hadn't been terribly stressed, but I was still busy outside of content creation. So the next game I played was Panorama. Even though I'm not sure I technically finished the game, it is hard to tell as there is no story. I did feel I experienced what the game had to offer. That said, I had no idea what I was doing in the hours that I sunk into this game. I got tiles for buildings, but even after filling them in, no buildings showed up. I just couldn't grasp the concept, so I don't really have a positive opinion on the game. It is pretty and was calming, but also very confusing to play. I probably would not pick this up unless it was on sale or it really appeals to you. Personally, I thought I would like it more than I did, so I was left with nothing but disappointment. Moving quickly past that disappointment, I picked up the next game I was going to finish last month, and that game was Lost Words Beyond the Page. Now this game has a unique premise and cute graphics. It follows a girl's journey through grief via her journal entries and a fantasy story she is writing, using the unique mechanic of words to bring actions to life on screen. The story gets surprisingly emotional and deep within the journal entries. It does capture the feeling that I am reading through this young girl's private diary. The writing's tone really matches that of a young girl and takes me back to when I was younger and not as aware of my emotions and in turn my actions. The part where she talks about eating kale to make a difference in her grandma's recovery, only to later realise this was nothing more than wishful thinking, it hit home. I am sure we've all at some point thought, if I just do this one thing, everything will be different, when in reality, some things are just out of our control. This game reminded me of these kinds of emotions as I played through it. I did prefer the journal parts rather than the other gameplay. I liked the style in these sections more and thought they were more creative than the rest of the game. It is, however, a very basic platformer that provides virtually no challenge. As a game overall, it is fine, with the story being its saving point. Unfortunately, it is not a game I would be rushing back to play again. Another game I finished in February was Touhou Lunar Nights. I replayed through this game for a collaboration video. Touhou Lunar Nights is an action combat Metroidvania in the Touhou universe. It has incredibly tight controls and they are all 100% customizable, so you can button map it based on your own preferences. The game takes around 5 hours to beat and the combat is fair with some more challenging boss battles. Best part is this game's also available physically now, so all the collectors out there can get their hands on this one. KONOSUBA, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Love for These Clothes of Desire is a visual novel with characters from the popular anime. It has a long title, and it's something that I did receive a review copy for, so I played through the whole game before my review. It is a game made for fans that has a completely standalone story to enjoy. There is a surprising amount of content with multiple CG endings based on which character you have the highest rating with. I got Darkness's ending. The game also has a lot of extra clothes that you can make, and each time you do, it will unlock short segments with more CG images unlocked. I have a full review of this game on my channel and I will also link it in the description, so go watch that after this video if you want to know more. Rounding out the games I completed in February is Venba. Venba is a visual novel with light cooking elements. It follows an Indian family who are living in Canada, with each chapter covering a different stage of their lives. It ended up being a very touching story on family and culture, plus all the food throughout the game looked delicious. My only critique would be I wished it was longer, or had a separate cooking mode as post-game. Venba is a journey worth taking, a reminder of the importance of family and celebrating different cultures, the struggles and consequences of decisions made throughout our life, and accepting that not everything goes as planned. It is on the short side at about 1.5 hours for a single playthrough, so keep that in mind. There's also no voice acting in the game. I can still recommend this for a short and sweet time, especially if you love food. The food in the game all looks so incredibly delicious. So you made it through the 8 games that I completed last month, and you've made it to the bonus game, which is a bonus game because it's a game you technically can't finish as it is a live service game, with that game being Foamstars. Foamstars is a first-person shooter battle royale style game, where all the weapons shoot foam rather than bullets. I'm including it in this list because even though you cannot technically beat the game, I wanted to talk about it anyway, and this video seemed like the best place to do so. On to my thoughts of the game. I personally found the foam distracting. It made the matches very chaotic in a whirlwind of colour. On top of this, there are some big downfalls with the game. You don't always get to play as the character you want. If somebody else chooses it as well, it's luck of the draw and you may have to play the match as another character. And as the playstyle is tied to these characters rather than to the weapons, it is really frustrating when you have to play as a character you don't necessarily gel with. Another downfall is the reload and movement in general is just so slow. Apart from the board riding, this makes the pacing feel off. The objectives to win are not ideal, and things like Foamstar, where one player becomes a target to destroy on each team, doesn't feel balanced. Not to mention, I struggled to find matches if I did not play at peak times. I tried one afternoon soon after the release and had no success at all. Finally, the microtransactions are crazy expensive, and this just puts me off the game even more. I got this game because it was included in PlayStation Plus last month, but I won't be playing it much in the future. I really just wanted to have it in this video because I had so many frustrations with this game, and I know I'm not the only person. But if anybody does still enjoy this game, can you comment down below and tell me maybe why I should give it another chance? Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss this backlog video each and every month. I've also started to run a poll right here on YouTube where you can choose one game that I cross off my backlog each and every month. The first winner of that poll was Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which I'm currently playing through. Until the next video, thanks for watching. Bye bye!